yeah. Who is the immigrant? If we are living in the same land, sharing the same sun. Who is the immigrant?
We welcome to Impact Talks Dr. Tadios Belay. He works with the Black Alliance for Just Immigration, BAJI, a prominent human rights and black immigration advocacy organization that educates and engages African American and black immigrant communities to organize and advocate for racial, social, and economic justice. In 2014, Dr. Tadios founded the African Civil Rights Center, a San Francisco-Bay Area based community organization established to advocate for racial, economic, social, and civil rights of African and Caribbean immigrants in the San Francisco-Bay Area. Dr. Tadios is also a Human Rights Fellow at the prestigious United States Human Rights Network, where he teaches and engages African American and African immigrant communities to organize and advocate for racial, social, and economic justice throughout the United States and globally. Dr. Tadios has extensive experience recruiting pro bono attorneys and supervising free legal immigration clinics benefiting hundreds of low-income African and Caribbean immigrants. For his unwavering commitment, work, and service to the black immigrant community, he has earned recognition and an award from the California State Assembly and the 15th Assembly District as a community change maker. He received the 7th annual Juneteenth Image Award. Salam.
Salam.
You were not expecting that, were you?
that was too much.
Well, that's all about you. I could barely go through so much. You've done so much great work in the short time you've been in this country. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Let's get to it. Why did you come to the United States?
Well, that's a good question, right? Mm-hmm. So because, I came to the U.S. as a refugee almost 8 years ago, right. Because of, U.S. foreign policy.
Yes. Correct.
In our country, Ethiopia, because the United States, as you all know, the United States, has a lot of, military base in Africa, over I believe over 52 military base in Africa, supporting, dictatorial regimes, oppressive regimes in Africa. And we don't really care when I say that, the United States doesn't really care about human rights violation in Africa. So they always prioritize, supporting African dictators and then expanding, their military base in Africa and looting, our resource from Africa. And so that's why I left, my country almost 8 years ago, and I came here as a refugee. So that's the main reason. And I would say it is just because of, neoliberalism. It's because of U.S. imperialism. I left my country. So and I ended up, here as a refugee, and now, I'm a refugee.
And now with everything that's going on, I'm just thinking about the fact that this country boasts that it offers a chance of good life to everybody who is willing to work. Is that true for all, or is it just a myth?
It's not true. I had an opportunity, to go to, this, prestigious, schools in this country, but 99% of your community members are still struggling.
They're struggling.
To make hundreds of dollars, and then bring bread to the table to their families, right? Take care of their families, right? And there is, we have been struggling with the with the immigration issues, right? We have, so many black migrants, in the detention.
Tell me a little bit about BAJI.
Yeah, BAJI, of course. BAJI. Yeah, BAJI is, or Black Alliance for Just Immigration, is a national immigrant-led organization. We have office in different parts of the country: New York, Los Angeles, Boston, the Bay Area, and Miami. And we have been working, to advocate for the rights of, black immigrants in the United States, and then to bring African Americans and African immigrants together to, to fight for common good. We've been, doing a lot of advocacy.
Hey, if this is your first time visiting TIMTV channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button here below and ring the notification bell so you will be notified when we post new content.
It's your work, service refer to black immigrants in the country.
That's very interesting. Let's talk about the status of black immigrants. We all know, everybody says black immigrants are very smart and this and that and hardworking, but what is their status? Because I have to tell you, as a mother of black kids in this country, I've had conversations with my sons that have made me really weary, but I have no choice. I can't go back home. It's you and I are here running away from all kinds of terrible things that happen in our country, and now we're here and we still face challenges. Based on the work you do with BAJI and all the research you've done, what is the status of the African or the Caribbean, the black immigrant in the United States?
Okay. Again, that's a great question, Pamela. We have done a couple of research, actually two research and one report. The first two research were about the state of black immigrants in the U.S. in general and in California in particular. And we have also done a report at the border, black lives or black immigrants at the border. So when you see the deportation and the incarceration rates of black immigrants, we have actually the highest deportation rate in the country. 1 out of 5 immigrants who are deported from this country is black. So,
but most people don't know that,
and people do not know that because
why?
Yeah, because we have been excluded systematically, discriminated, from the immigration movement. We have never been to the table, on the table around immigration conversation. So that's why actually BAJI was formed, right, to uplift the experience of black migrants and asylum seekers in this country. And because, like I said, even within the immigration system, within the immigration movement, we have been systematically discriminated.
Can we also take some responsibility? Are black immigrants aware, or are they just not sensitized enough to join movements though? Because black immigrants tend to stay in their little communities. Is it that we're lacking leadership?
Well, again, this is a question of resource, right?
Right.
Our community community organization or black-led organization are under resources. Correct. We don't have the resource to organize our community members, right? So if you don't organize your community members, how can you expect our community members to come out?
It's like telling me to tie my boots and I have no boots.
Yeah.
Pull yourself by your bootstraps. But I have no boots to put. So let's talk about something somber. I just can't ignore this. We recently lost a prolific, dynamic son of Eritrean immigrants known as Nipsey Hussle. His name is actually, and let's call him by his name, Ermias Joseph Ashgadom. I hope I did a service on that name.
That's right.
And popularly known as Nipsey Hussle. He was an American rapper and a community activist. He contributed so much to this community. So we're talking about contributions of black immigrants or, children of immigrants. Do you think Americans appreciate the value that black immigrants bring to this country regardless of their status in the society?
I don't think so. That's the short answer, right? And the short and simple answer, I don't think the United States, recognize the contribution of black immigrants in this country because, for instance, our brother, the late, Nipsey, Hussle, he was the child of immigrant, right? And he's been doing a lot of work for his community. He was investing a lot of things, to his community members, right? He was investing on education. He was actually an advocate for STEM, for science, technology, education, and engineering and math, right? And he was into entrepreneurship. He was a leader.
He was.
Right? He was investing too much to to our community members, and then he's a perfect example, right? To our conversation.
So let me ask you before we wrap this up, and still on that line, Nipsey really forged the bridge. I would say I've always wanted this bridge between Africans and African Americans.
Yeah.
He really forged this bridge, and it was really good to see, African American community rise up and support and, really honor him. I really want you to tell me, what more can we do as people of African descent to work together? Do you think that will help maybe in uplifting our status in this country?
Yes.
It's power in numbers.
For sure. Nipsey, the late, Nipsey, paved the way. He showed us the way to reunite, black people in this country, both African Americans and African immigrants. In fact, he went to Africa a few years ago, and when he came back from Africa, he was very inspired to reunite or to unite African American community and the African immigrant community and the African Americans. Excuse me. So and then he's been doing a lot, and like you said, he was a bridge.
He was a bridge.
Right? He was bridging the two communities. He was serving as a bridge to connect these two communities, right? And in fact, BAJI has also been doing a lot of work around this area. We have a diaspora dialogue. The main mission or purpose purpose of the diaspora dialogue is actually to bring the two communities together, to fight for our common good, to fight for housing, to fight for affordable education system in this country, right? So. Yeah, and then I think it's very important, for the black community in the U.S., both African Americans and African immigrants, to come together and then fight for our, rights and interests.
Well, last word. Sometimes African American brothers don't feel that Africans recognize them, and sometimes they feel like we don't acknowledge their presence in this country and what the struggle that they've been through. What is your message to the black diaspora in general?
I think we have to do a lot of political education, right? Okay. We have to educate, our community members. I don't want to blame, the African immigrant community, or I don't want to blame, the African Americans. I think it's very important to launch a political education, educating, our communities, for a better, understanding, right?
Yes.
To build, a common sense, to build, a common ground for both of us. So I don't want to blame, the two communities, but still, we have a responsibility, Tadios, as an African immigrant, or my friend or my brother as African American. I think we have responsibility, historical responsibility,
absolutely,
right, to bridge the gap.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So on that note, how can people find out about BAJI?
So BAJI, we have a website, www.baji.org, or you can reach out to me at Tadios, Tadios at baji.org. Yeah,
okay.
So you guys
That's
can
wonderful.
support us, or volunteer with us. In fact, we need a lot of volunteers and then support from the community.
And on that note, I want to thank you so much for coming.
Thank
and
you
in fact,
so
you have
much.
to come back because there's so much
yes,
education
in
right
fact,
there.
this is I think my third time, and so the studio is like home.
Yeah, this
for
is
me
your
now.
home.
I've been
Anytime.
here like a couple of times.
You are more than welcome.
Thank you, Pamela.
And
Thank you
we
so
want
much
to
for the
give our
opportunity.
respects and pay our homage to Nipsey's family
Yes.
and the entire diaspora, and uniting and building a better bridge and not letting his death drive us apart but bring us together.
Thank you. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank you because, you've been doing a really amazing job in uplifting, the stories of, black immigrants and then, or, immigrants in general. And thank you for your work as well.
You're very welcome. And this is Impact on KPFK 90.7 FM. I'm Pamela Anchang. Thanks for watching today's video. For more TIMTV videos about immigrant lifestyles, click on the subscribe button here below and ring the notification bell so you will be notified when we upload new content. We upload new content every single week. See you next time on TIMTV.
Traveler, and we want to go alone.